think of what happens if instead of selling keywords like Google AdWords, you start selling user embeddings, right? Who the user is, what the user is. Entire industries from Adtech to media just get disrupted. There's a deeper layer. Like once you work on the embedding level, it's like machine code. You can actually make the models do things that they didn't consider, which is both exciting and unsettling. So in order to explore that, I'm joined with Gilad Lotan, head of AI, data sciences and analytics in BuzzFeed, which feels fitting because very few people actually know how to turn buzzwords into actual signal better than Gilad. I've actually known Gilad for 30 years now and was excited to see some of the early Twitter clustering work that even today you wouldn't actually see in most companies. And so it is a great pleasure to have you. So Gilad, welcome.
Thank you, Adam. It's great to be here, and it's always so nice to see you.
So are you ready for a quick round of questions?
Sure.
So AGI when?
AGI when? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm supposed to be quick. I go back and forth on this. Sometimes I feel like it's in 2 years, and sometimes I'm like, we're crazy to think that it's coming anytime soon. I know, maybe 10 years, 20 years.
10 years. You're very pessimistic. That's for sure. But then who? Right, that's a bigger question in my mind. Like if China, US.
I think China. Time to learn Mandarin.
Yeah, that's a crazy part, right? It's what we're seeing is that China is publishing articles. US has stopped publishing articles. China is actually speeding up. It's going to be pretty brutal geopolitically, but unfortunately, I think I agree with you. Unless the U.S. Regroups,
it's gonna take us
a
while.
Who figures out ads in this new world? OpenAI or Google?
I think it's
Google. You think it's Google?
Yeah. It's Google. You know, it feels like they've had a kind of a comeback the last few months. They've launched Gemini. They've launched some really, really amazing capabilities. Definitely on the image side with the new Gemini models. I think also their LLMs doing it's pretty performant. They're subsidizing this to all the companies on their stack, so it's very cheap to use. But I do, and they already have the advertising business, so I do think. I don't think OpenAI. I think OpenAI don't care about the advertising business.
Well, they are starting to go into recruiting, which is pretty interesting because it's a form of ads, right? It's like matching between people. But let me maybe Google. But so what's the winning ad unit in the AI world?
I mean, I think it is created by a service, not by a human. The ad itself, I think it is tailored to a person. So the ad that you see, different from the ad that I see. Maybe the image, maybe the text, but I think it's hyper-personalized and automated content that's hyper-targeted. I think that is the world we're heading to. And then the question is whether impressions will matter or will everything be about clicks. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And it's probably even more than clicks, right? One can actually argue that it's actions, right? That now that you can actually track, and if it's agents, that's interesting. And so what feature are you most missing from your favorite LLM? You mentioned Gemini innovating finally, but what are you most missing? What have you recently started using? Let's start with that.
We've started using Replicate pretty heavily, and it's effectively a marketplace that makes it easier to use different models. So they host, they handle the inference, they make it very easy and pretty cheap. And so as a content company that's rapidly building companies, We don't have to like host our own version of Stable Diffusion and just deal with uptime and inference. And we don't have to do any of that. We can, okay, we want to try VO. Let's just use this endpoint from Replicate. We want to try Flux. We could use that. So it's very easy to test and try and shift between models. And so in a way, we are moving much faster than we could ever have moved because we're using this platform.
And what are you most missing? You had a magic wand. You could get anything you want tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the ability to fine tune, but truly fine tune, and also, okay, maybe it's fine tuning plus evals. I'm really missing evals because I feel like everything we do, or a lot of what we do, ends up being evaluated by vibes. you really want to ground your evaluation. There are various approaches and various like unit tests that we could run or prompt tests, but it takes a lot of time. And also, fine tuning has not, say, on the tech side, text has not, we haven't been successful yet with regard to tone or text or different tasks that we would have loved to try out.
We should have a whole episode about evals. I think that's another, like, one of the most underappreciated, of just knowing what works, what doesn't work, and how to evaluate a new model when it comes out and say, hey, this is what's changed, and maybe this is what broke. So people are...
Yeah, I don't know. Are we making progress? I know it clicks. Okay, but is this riskier? Is it, yeah, I have no idea. There's so much uncertainty when you launch new products these days.
Yeah, no, totally. This is awesome. I love this.